Good morning. Welcome to Mama We Made It with DJ and Reg. We've got part two of our conversation with the wonderful Rashanna Moss, talking about a little bit of her sport origin story, a little bit about what her legacy looks like from her perspective, and what her favorite Creole menu looks like. Next up on Mama We Made It with DJ and Reg. Good morning, my brother. Good morning to the people. Welcome to Mama We Made It with DJ and Reg. That's DJ. I'm Reg. Give the audience a little bit of your origin story as an athlete. You said tennis in passing, and DJ talked about some of the accolades. How did you become a tennis player?
So I was born in 1980, and so I think that's significant because what tennis was in the 80s was different, right? It was homegrown. We're talking about, McEnroe, who was such a star, and then, going into the 90s with like Agassi. And then on the female side, like Martina Navratilova, and then you had the Williams sisters were later, but you had Zena Garrison and Lori McNeil. Well, they were from Houston, and so they were being trained there. So it was probably, I guess I was 5. There was a country club that wasn't that far from where my parents lived, and somehow they got interested, again, just because tennis in the 80s was cool. And so they got interested. They were self-taught, started hitting. And again, as an only child, whatever your parents do, you go do too. And so when they would get done, they brought me out. And so I really started to just take to it and fell in love with it. Tennis was by far my first love. And then they put me into lessons, and that was it. Like, done. I fell in love with it. It was the first thing that made me understand what hard work was, what passion was. And even though I ended up playing some other sports like track, basketball, volleyball, and swimming, tennis was still my main sport. And so I took that through into freshman year of college and then did some transferring. And so after that, it just like didn't work out, but played through my freshman year. But because I knew that I wanted to do sports psychology, once tennis was over, my transition was probably only about 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
I had the right relationships because I was at Penn State and had already created because I had gone through tryouts. So I'd already made the relationships with the tennis team and pivoted very quickly. And so I didn't have that huge identity dilemma that a lot of athletes have when sport is done, because it's like I was staying in the same environment. And so after that, the IMG, Nike, it all fit in, right? And we know this, Nike's a bunch of former jocks running around campus, at least when we were there. And so you pick up another sport and so forth, but that was my entry into sport, and honestly defined everything. Like I didn't understand that I had a brain until sport was over, because that's all I care about.
I love that.
Yeah.
I got nothing but love for Nittany Lions. We are Spartans, but I have a soft spot in my heart for State College. So nothing but love.
You probably like them more than I do right now, so I'll give you that.
No, I don't like them.
No.
I have a soft spot for Nittany Lion alum. I'll say some of my closest people are of Penn State. I won't even get into the controversies of it all. I'll simply say the people that I know from Penn State, I love dearly.
Yeah, that makes sense. I get it.
Yeah, I think the Nittany Lions and the Spartans have had some really troubled experiences here.
Right.
And they can stop calling me until I know this gets fixed.
That part. And Michigan too. Stop calling me for money.
Stop
calling me for money. Stop calling me for money.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So, Rashanna, I want to touch on something that could arguably be a little sensitive because it relates to finances.
Mm-hmm.
Answer whatever you feel comfortable answering. I think at times it is a disservice for us to not be real when it comes to the need to be financially sound, right? And to be able to support what we want to achieve in life. But it's not easy. And we ebb and flow. You talked about it a little bit earlier. Things happen in life. If I said to you, Rashanna, passion over money, would you say, DJ, stop tripping? Or would you say, yeah, that sounds about right?
I'm the person who would say that sounds about right, but it comes with some real sacrifice and
Yeah.
hard stuff. I think about what life would have been like had I stayed like in a W-2 position. The trajectory, right, that was at Nike and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Financially, that 1000% would have been the smarter route. If I think about where I am now, the values, understanding the performance strategy, the development, leadership, entrepreneurship, I sacrificed that. And my, I would say, still naive dream is that it all serves a purpose and comes together. And yes, that may be later in life, but there's so much in entrepreneurship that I did not know, so many mistakes made, so many times where you're just trying to do the thing that needs to be done. And so you don't even have the capacity to pay attention to everything else, right? Obviously, I learned that in my first business. Now in my second business, I do understand a little bit more of the balance. And I know that there's so much about the financial side that also impacts you psychologically and emotionally, right? And so it's an opportunity to like put it all together. But I think how you're oriented is what determines the answer to that question. I don't know that everyone is oriented for that.
Right.
It just would be out of balance if that were the case.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. You mentioned a couple times spirituality, and in this, in this conversation of all that's going on in your world and all that you're balancing. How does your spirituality inform your approach to your life, the work you do, and how you engage the world? What's that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's at a different stage now. It was not leading the charge before. It's always been there because, again, growing up Creole, that automatically means Creole and Catholic are like synonymous. And so
Sure.
you're raised in some type of religion and spirituality from day one. You're sent as Catholic school, all the things. So it's evolved from religion into spirituality, but the spirituality now being aligned. So before, when I was saying that I'm no longer forcing my will,
Mm-hmm.
that's part of it. It is staying open enough to be able to receive the signals to say, oh, okay, this conversation is aligning. Somehow it's moving towards this path. And so you just kind of follow it. And then you allow that to lead to the next one and to lead to the next one. And so I would say it's leading the charge in that way. The other thing too is like I've got a morning routine. And in that morning routine, I'm sitting up in bed, but I'm not out of bed until I have become centered because I don't want to step into the world as some masked version of myself because then it's like the frequency won't be there in order to receive the right things. I think also because my business is so people oriented, I feel really strongly about how I show up for others. And when there is a lot of chaos in the market or differentiation, it's really easy to get pulled. And I don't want to be that person that's reactive when it's my job to be centered. And that's, again, to receive the business, but then also to serve others.
Sure.
So that's how it pretty much shows up now.
So I'm already getting excited, Rashanna, about the responses we'll get from our viewers. Reg and I and Nakia go through a process, and I kind of work through the YouTube stuff Reg does, IG, Nakia, production, along with Marina. And I'm already excited about some of the responses that I know are going to come from this. So again, thank you. I think it's important for our viewers to know that at times we have to operate with a set of non-negotiables. And we all have them. And Reg and I have known each other since '87. We know what they are with us. Would you share with the audience, what are your non-negotiables, whether it's personal, professional? These are the requisites if you're engaging with Rashanna Moss.
This is funny because I think when I was first moving into this business, and I referred to that stage of where it's just like you say yes because you've got to start making money, right, to get the other contracts. There were some that came up, and you get to that point where it's like, yes, we want to work with you. You get to the NDAs, and you've already submitted like an RFP that states, hey, it's going to be a mutual NDA, right? So that it's because it's mutual, it's a relationship. And I remember one, it was a pretty good dollar amount, but they came back and they wanted me to sign a NDA that only served them. And I was like,
Mm.
this is strange, right? Because in the RFP was clearly outlined. And when I brought it up, their response was that they wanted to work with someone easier. And I had to let that go. I could have said yes. But in my opinion, me saying yes to that would have meant abandoning myself and my truth and starting a relationship where I am always doing what they want or tailoring in some way versus showing up in the truth of what the work is supposed to be. So I think that's one piece, right? Is just what does that mutuality in that relationship look like? How are people truly oriented? Because we do see a lot of companies where, for example, like data is used in like a super predatory way. Not to say that we wouldn't work with the company like that, but the question is, what are you working towards? I am not here to posture change or to posture, a do good. Truly here to help people and transform in truth. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. I'm not here for that. So I think that's a big non-negotiable. And then the other piece just has to kind of do around boundaries. Reg, you had referred to protecting your energy and protecting your peace. I think you
Yep.
have to do that in order to show up as your best self. And so if you're not filling your cup, you can't do it with others. And so sometimes it may look selfish, but there are stages of life where it takes a lot more juice or gas in the tank to even show up in a certain way. And I think you've got to honor that. And so staying connected in the morning helps me understand what I need to put in the tank. And so however it goes in life through different stages, it's a non-negotiable of maintaining those boundaries for the energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
When are you your highest? Like, what's the most substantial natural high? And what are you doing when you feel that in your world? Like, man, I am on top of the world when I'm doing this thing, or I'm in this kind of vibe, if you will.
Yeah. I think it's when I feel most high when I'm helping others, whether that's a one-on-one conversation or session, or whether that's like a speaking engagement and you've got an audience. But I love to see people have those aha moments when the light bulb goes off, they realize something and they're applying it to themselves. I never feel like it's me telling them what to do. It's saying something or modeling something in a way where they can see it in themselves and now they want to become better. I swear that's what I live for. That is like the biggest high, the most juice, the most satisfying thing ever. I
I
want to
love
know
it.
what
I
y'all's
dig it.
are.
I am the most high, so I'm a bucket of water. Like, I cry at the drop of a hat. I'm on the edge of tears right now. And I'm in the most high when I see young black kids realize that they're special. So I've got two sons, and whenever I see them have a twinkle and a gleam, like, oh, the universe is for me, and this is for me, and I've got power that I didn't realize, I'm on cloud nine, because my whole premise is to be a part of lighting their light, right? And being a part of the village of elders that supports them on the journey of lighting and sustaining their own light. So whenever I could be watching a movie and watching a brother and sister figure it out at like 12 years old. I'm a bucket of water. So I get excited when I see people, particularly young folks, realize their power. And anytime I'm a part, to your point, anytime I'm a part of that, man, you can't tell me nothing.
That's awesome.
Very similar for me when I know I've made an impact in someone's life. A recent experience, a few years ago, I was a co-developer of a Master's of Science at the university I was working with, Master's of Science in Sports Leadership. Our first cohort graduated last week. And one of the brothers who graduated, he's also a frat brother of Reg and I, and he's a senior executive with the MLB. His undergrad experience was like a lot of us. We got through it. So when it came to being accepted in the master's program, I made a call totally within the guidelines, but didn't necessarily have the support, but I made the call. And he flourished, probably one of the best students we had in the program. Well, he called me. I saw a phone call come from him at like 8 o'clock at night. I'm like, what's this brother doing calling me? So I picked it up. He was in line about to graduate. And I'm getting choked up now, like Reg. He said, brother, I just want to thank you. That for me is it. That's why I do what I do. That's the result I'm looking for, to know you've made an impact. And now that brother's up. He was already off to the races, didn't need me. But it was enough that he said thank you.
Yep.
And that's all that mattered to me. So
Yep.
that's when I'm high as a kite.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yep. And I would add to that, when we started talking about this podcast and we landed on the name Mama We Made It with DJ and Reg, it wasn't about, ooh, look at us, look how successful we become or whatever that is. It is really about, we remember all the ways that our mothers and our villages poured into us. And to be here now and be able to look back and reflect and say, yep, that seed you planted, mama, bore fruit. And I'm so thankful and grateful to the universe that I can now give it away. So that's really what the show is about. And we're excited about that. So you have hit the nail on the head in terms of, how we think about it as well. So it's meaningful to think about what we can give away, the intergenerational nature of it all. So we're really, really excited about that. And to that end, the question for you as we start to round the corner on this conversation, which has been, again, to DJ's point, thank you so much. This has been fantastic.
Thank you.
When you think about legacy, what does it mean to you, and what do you hope your legacy will be or is?
So I think because, again, the focus on people, right? I would want it to be that people felt supported, felt like they had a cheerleader, that they were truly seen, and then inspired to reach their full potential and utilize the courage to get there. And I think that honestly is on both the personal side as well as the business side. For me, it's the same thing. And it just comes down to the purpose. And so that's what I would want as far as the legacy is concerned, is again, for people to just like feel encouraged to go further.
Word.
Love that.
Word.
So as Reg said, we're rounding the corner. Would love to leave some time. We are not selfish humans. Do you have questions for us? Anything you want to share that we may have missed?
So one of the things I am interested in is, with the concept of flourishing, I feel like it is pretty adjacent to my interest in work, right? And when I saw the categories, I related, because a lot of times in coaching, you'll also see like the wheel of life, right? But you break it down in a different way. I think it's categories that are much more significant versus kind of the objective approach of the wheel of life.
Okay.
And what I'm curious about now is being in the stage of life that you all are in right now. What flourishing looks like for you currently, because again, if we were to go back 10, 15 years before that, it would have looked different, right? Because you've matured to get to this stage to want to like bring this topic to people. And so what does that look like?
I'll defer to you, Reg, along the way?
It's a great question, and again, because I'm on the edge of tears, let me hold it together. At its core, for me, when I think about what flourishing means to me, and flourishing for me runs adjacent to my sense of spirituality and faith, right? And so to really be flourishing, I think for me at its core is about my resilience, my ability to, regardless of what comes my way or what I walk into, to be both flexible, but also be able to snap back, to be able to hold on to my confidence and my humility at the same time, right? Not let my ego get too far away, but not let the little hater in my head get too loud either, right? And to balance that. And that, you know, that my family, both born and chosen, when they see me, when they think of me, they're inspired. And that there's this sense that the spaces I've been in and walked through are warmer, richer, deeper, maybe a little bit more meaningful, blacker, in a way that thousands of years before all led to this moment, and this moment will be a part of what happens 1,000 millennia from now, and that somewhere in the chain of life, me as this little seed was part of making it better, and
I love
having,
that.
lastly, control of my calendar to make my own calls.
That part,
Yeah,
yes.
I get that one. I'll be brief, Rashanna. I think, when I wore a younger man's clothes, as they say, it was easy to take certain things for granted. Your health. You're probably not sitting up all day thinking about your heart and sugar and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to be really clear. Alice Parker, Paula Casey taught me don't rely on anyone. That's my mom and my grandmother. May my grandmother rest in peace. So I've always been stricken with that dimension of existence. And I say stricken in a good way. I knew that I needed to retire early, or there would probably be some furniture moving up at Nike. Like I needed to get out of there.
He's not joking at all. He's not joking at all.
Oh, not at all.
I didn't know.
Yes.
I didn't know.
And again, I don't know what side of that I would have ended up on, but I feel confident it probably would have turned out a certain way. But I had to move. It was time to move on. I didn't want that to be my legacy. So when I think about flourishing, I knew financial sustenance was critical for me. I didn't want to have to rely on anyone for me to live my life. And we know finance is a big part of that. So that was really critical circa 2015. Having worked through that, now I find myself, Rashanna, hyper focused on mental, physical, spiritual health. And it's an odd journey at this point in life. I don't sleep as well. I have to watch what I eat, but I'm home all the time, so I'm in my cupboards all the time.
Leave them cookies alone.
Yeah, man. So cookies become crackers, and crackers are now trying to become blueberries. I'm almost there. But that's really where I am right now. And that feels like the one that I really got to focus on. It's not easy. As I've told, Reg, yoga's a big part of that now, heated yoga. So I'm really diligent around that. And it's working. But you realize you're on the back nine at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's an odd space to be in because you feel like you got so much more to do.
Yeah.
So that's where I am. My sense of purpose has never been more elevated. But I feel so good about my social circles. Obviously, like my brother Reg here, you, and folks who have had an impact on me and allow me to be sitting here today having this conversation. So I hope that answers your question. I don't take anything for granted. I can guarantee you that. And this whole thing around health has become much more critical for me.
Love that.
We can't get out of here though. We got some questions that gonna press you a little bit. So let's start. Since you are a good Creole folk, what is your ideal Creole menu? What are we eating?
Okay. Well, you got to have grandma's mac and cheese in there. We got to have dirty rice for sure. I'm going to say fried catfish and fried shrimp. And gumbo. That's ideal. Right there, I'm satisfied.
Okay.
Did I hear a vegetable in there? I'm not trying to be funny, but was there a vegetable in there?
The vegetables are cut up really small and they flavor things, but I'm not worried about that.
Okay, I got you. That's enough.
Is there a dessert or a drink that goes with this?
The dessert would probably be a pound cake topped with spiked rum, whipped cream, and strawberries.
Okay. Yep.
That sounds delicious.
That's good.
You hungry, huh? Yeah.
I'm starving now. Between that and the blueberries at DJ's house, I got a decision to make. And then the last one, because you are a tennis player, who is, in your opinion, the all-time greatest tennis player?
Reg, that's a hard one.
Break it by gender if you need to.
Ooh. Okay. If we're going to break it by gender, it's really hard on the male side for me to not say Pete Sampras. That's not based on number of wins. It's the combination of who he was and how he showed up.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
And then on the female side, I'm going to go straight Serena.
Okay.
I just feel like she was I also came to Nike when Serena was hot and on her upward trajectory. I think she's so unique, and everything she had to overcome in order to show up successful within the sport was no joke. So I give her credit for all of that and what it did culturally for the sport as well. It opened up a lot. I mean, if you look at the fan base that would attend the US Open before Serena and during Serena, it looked so different. And I just love the intersectionality of all of that and how things really came to life.
I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, Rashanna, I'll let Reg close us out as he does so well, but I just want to thank you again. It's always wonderful seeing you, connecting with you, and it means so much to us that you shared your time with us today. And Absolutely. I'm sure the audience is going to feel the same way, and I look forward to sharing their sentiment with you later.
Dig it.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank the lovely Rashanna Moss for what a wonderful conversation around flourishing and her perspective on how she builds a life of meaning. This is Mama We Made It with DJ and Reg. That is still DJ. I'm still Reg. We are excited to continue to build this thing once a week. Check us out on YouTube or wherever you get your favorite podcast. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us. Let us know what you think. And we'll continue to do this thing every Wednesday. Have a great day.